Sabah is a state located in the northern part of the island of Borneo, which is the third largest island in the world and shared by three countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. Sabah occupies a significant portion of Borneo's northern tip, making it a prominent region in Southeast Asia. It is situated on the eastern side of Malaysia, along with the state of Sarawak. Together, these two states form what is known as East Malaysia, separated from peninsular Malaysia by the South China Sea. To the north, Sabah faces the vast South China Sea, giving it a long and beautiful coastline that stretches for hundreds of kilometers. This strategic position has made Sabah a gateway for trade and cultural exchange for centuries. Its closest neighbors are the Philippines to the northeast, just across the Sulu and Celebes seas, and Indonesia to the south, sharing a land border with the Indonesian province of North Kalimantan. Sabah is world-renowned for its stunning beaches, lush tropical rainforests, and the majestic Mount Kinabalu, which is the highest peak in Southeast Asia and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Sabah's importance comes not only from its natural beauty, but also from its wealth of natural resources and its strategic location at the crossroads of major maritime routes in Southeast Asia. The state is rich in oil and gas, with significant offshore reserves that contribute greatly to Malaysia's economy. These resources have attracted international investment and made Sabah a key player in the region's energy sector. Its dense forests are home to many unique and endangered animals and plants, such as orangutans, pygmy elephants, and rare orchids, making Sabah a hotspot for biodiversity and conservation efforts. Many people from around the world visit Sabah each year for its adventure tourism, wildlife experiences, and vibrant local cultures, making tourism a vital part of the state's economy. Because Sabah is so close to other countries, its history is deeply connected to both the Philippines and Indonesia. Trade, migration, and even disputes have shaped Sabah's identity over the centuries. This proximity has led to ongoing questions and debates about who truly owns Sabah, with various parties laying claim to its territory at different times in history. Some countries, especially the Philippines, have made official claims in the past, citing historical agreements and colonial-era treaties as the basis for their arguments. Today, however, Sabah is officially recognized as a part of Malaysia, with its own state government and representation in the Malaysian parliament, but questions about its ownership and sovereignty continue to appear in the news, sparking debates among politicians, historians, and the public. In this essay, we will explore these complex questions in detail, focusing especially on the relationship between Sabah and Indonesia, and why this issue remains important today. Sabah's history goes back hundreds of years. Before European colonization, local kingdoms ruled the area. The Sultanate of Sulu, based in what is now the Philippines, controlled parts of Sabah in the 17th and 18th centuries. Later, European powers like the British came to Borneo. In 1878, British North Borneo Company got control of Sabah through an agreement with the Sultan of Sulu. This agreement is important because it is the main reason the Philippines claims Sabah. The British ruled Sabah until 1963. In 1963, Sabah joined Malaya, Sarawak, and Singapore to form Malaysia. The people of Sabah voted to join the new country. Since then, Malaysia has governed Sabah as one of its states. Although Malaysia controls Sabah, the historical ties to the Sultanate of Sulu and the British agreement are still discussed today. This is why there are ongoing questions about Sabah's ownership. The Philippines claims Sabah because of its deep-rooted history with the Sultanate of Sulu, a powerful Muslim kingdom that once held sway over vast territories in the region. This connection goes back centuries, shaping the cultural and political landscape of Southeast Asia. The Sultan of Sulu ruled over large areas, including parts of what is now known as Sabah, on the island of Borneo. The Sultanate's influence extended across the Sulu archipelago and into northern Borneo, making Sabah an integral part of its domain. In the late 1800s, the Sultan signed an agreement with the British North Borneo Company. This document became the foundation for later disputes, as it outlined the terms under which the British could administer Sabah. The Philippines maintains that this agreement did not transfer sovereignty over Sabah to the British. Instead, they argue it was merely a lease or arrangement allowing the British to use and administer the land, while ultimate ownership remained with the Sultanate of Sulu. When Malaysia was formed in 1963, Sabah chose to join the new federation. The Philippines strongly protested this move. insisting that Sabah was not Malaysia's to claim, and that the wishes of the Sultanate of Sulu and its heirs had been ignored. The Philippines argues that Sabah should belong to them, based on the old agreement and their historical ties to the Sultanate of Sulu. Filipino officials have repeatedly raised the issue in diplomatic talks, citing both legal documents and ancestral rights. The claim is rooted in the belief that the Sultan of Sulu never gave up his rights to the land, and that the heirs of the Sultanate continue to receive annual payments from Malaysia, which the Philippines sees as evidence of an ongoing lease rather than a full transfer of sovereignty. The dispute between the Philippines and Malaysia continues to this day, with both sides holding firm to their positions. Diplomatic efforts have been made, but a final resolution remains elusive. Sometimes, this disagreement leads to tension between the two countries, affecting diplomatic relations and even sparking protests or heated debates in both nations. Despite the ongoing dispute, Sabah remains firmly governed by Malaysia, with its own local government and representation in the Malaysian parliament. The debate about Sabah is mainly between the Philippines and Malaysia, with both countries presenting their historical and legal arguments on the international stage. People sometimes mistake this for a three-way dispute, but in reality, it is a complex issue involving only the Philippines and Malaysia, each with their own perspective on Sabah's rightful ownership. Some people wonder if Indonesia also claims Sabah. Indonesia is a large country that shares the island of Borneo with Malaysia. However, Indonesia has never claimed Sabah. Indonesia's border with Sabah is clear and agreed upon by both countries. There have been no official statements from Indonesia claiming Sabah as its own. The Indonesian government respects Malaysia's sovereignty over Sabah. In fact, Indonesia has focused on its own provinces in Borneo, like Kalimantan. Sometimes rumors appear on social media or in the news. These rumors suggest Indonesia wants Sabah. However, these are not true. The Indonesian government has denied such claims many times. In reality, Indonesia and Malaysia work together on many issues. They respect each other's borders and do not have disputes over Sabah. Indonesia and Malaysia share a long border on the island of Borneo. The two countries have, many things in common, including language, culture, and religion. Both are members of ASEAN, a group that promotes peace and cooperation in Southeast Asia. The border between Indonesia and Malaysia is clearly marked. Both countries have made agreements in the past to solve any small border issues, and these agreements help keep relations peaceful. Indonesia and Malaysia often work together on trade, security, and protecting the environment. They also cooperate to fight illegal activities along the border, like smuggling and illegal logging. Good relations between Indonesia and Malaysia are important for both countries. They want to avoid conflict and keep the region stable. Indonesia does not claim Sabah because, honestly, there is no historical or legal reason to do so. While some neighboring countries have had disputes over territory, Indonesia's position on Sabah has always been clear and consistent. Unlike the Philippines, which has a long-standing claim based on the old Sultanate of Sulu, Indonesia's ancient kingdoms and empires never actually controlled or administered Sabah at any point in history. There's simply no historical connection or legacy that would justify a claim. The borders in Borneo were set way back during colonial times, when the Dutch and British divided the island. These boundaries were later recognized by the newly independent countries, and have been respected ever since independence in the mid-20th century. There's a long-standing agreement between Indonesia and Malaysia to honor these colonial-era borders, which helps maintain peace and stability in the region. Indonesia's main focus is really on its own territory in Borneo, which is called Kalimantan. Kalimantan makes up the largest portion of the island and is home to millions of Indonesians, diverse cultures, and vast natural resources. It's actually the largest part of the island and is a key area for Indonesia's development. The government is investing heavily in Kalimantan, especially since it plans to move the national capital there. This means Indonesia is far more interested in developing its own land than seeking new territory. The Indonesian government spends most of its energy on the problems and opportunities within Kalimantan, such as building infrastructure, managing natural resources, and improving the lives of its people. There's simply no incentive to look beyond its own borders. Also, Indonesia wants to keep good relations with Malaysia. Both countries are important members of ASEAN and share deep economic, cultural, and political ties. Claiming Sabah would definitely hurt that relationship, potentially leading to diplomatic tensions or even conflict. Both governments know that cooperation is far more beneficial than confrontation. Since Indonesia and Malaysia are close partners, it's in their best interest to avoid disputes. They work together on trade, security, and education, and both benefit from a peaceful border. Finally, there just aren't any serious groups in Indonesia pushing to claim Sabah. The issue is not a topic of political debate or public protest. The idea might pop up in rumors or on social media from time to time, but it's not supported by the Indonesian government or the public. For most Indonesians, Sabah simply isn't an issue, and the focus remains on building a better future within their own borders. Sometimes, you'll see news stories or social media posts suggesting that Indonesia wants to claim Sabah, but these stories are usually just not true. They're often based on misunderstandings or honestly, just false information. Indonesian leaders have clearly said that Sabah belongs to Malaysia. For example, in 2022, some online rumors claimed Indonesia wanted to take Sabah, but the Indonesian government quickly denied these claims. They repeated that Indonesia respects Malaysia's borders. Most recent headlines about Sabah actually focus on the ongoing dispute between Malaysia and the Philippines, and Indonesia isn't involved in these arguments. It's really important to check the facts before believing any rumors. Official statements from both the Indonesian and Malaysian governments are clear. Indonesia does not claim Sabah. The Sabah question is important for both local people and for international relations. For Malaysia, Sabah is a valuable state with lots of resources and a really diverse population. For the Philippines, the claim is more about history and pride. For Indonesia, the issue matters because it's a neighbor to both countries. Indonesia wants to keep good relations with Malaysia and the Philippines, and this helps keep peace and stability in Southeast Asia. Understanding who claims Sabah and who doesn't helps prevent misunderstandings and stops the spread of false information. Clear facts help people see the difference between real news and rumors. Peaceful borders and good neighborly relations are important for everyone in the region. They mean more trade, tourism, and friendship between countries. After looking at the history and the facts, the answer is actually pretty simple. Indonesia does not claim Sabah. Only the Philippines has a historical claim, and that's based on its connection to the Sultanate of Sulu. Indonesia's border with Malaysia is clear and agreed by both sides. Indonesia and Malaysia are partners and neighbors, and they work together on many issues. Claiming Sabah would only cause problems, and Indonesia really has no reason or desire to do this. It's important to understand the facts about Sabah, because this helps people avoid confusion and believe only true news. Knowing that Indonesia does not claim Sabah helps keep relations in the region peaceful. In the end, Sabah remains a part of Malaysia. Indonesia respects this, and that is unlikely to change. Understanding these facts helps everyone see why peaceful borders really matter. While the question of Sabah's ownership is often debated online, the reality on the ground is shaped by cooperation, not conflict. Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines all share not just borders, but also common challenges, like protecting the environment, managing migration, and boosting economic growth. Organizations like ASEAN play a big role in encouraging dialogue and keeping the peace in Southeast Asia. By working together, these countries show the world that good neighbors solve their differences through discussion, not disputes. This spirit of collaboration allows people to cross borders for work, families to stay connected, and businesses to thrive across nations. It's a reminder that peaceful borders don't just prevent conflict, they help entire regions grow stronger together. So next time you hear rumors or see debates about Sabah, remember, the real story is about how countries can move forward, side by side. Because, in the end, cooperation is what truly shapes the future of the region. As we reflect on the story of Sabah and the ongoing cooperation in Southeast Asia, it's clear that the future will depend on continued dialogue and partnership. Experts suggest that while historical claims may never fully disappear, the focus is shifting toward practical solutions and shared prosperity. Regional agreements are evolving to address new challenges, from climate change to digital connectivity, making collaboration more important than ever. The people of Sabah and their neighbors remain at the heart of these efforts, building bridges across borders every day. By learning from the past and embracing the spirit of unity, Southeast Asia is setting an example for the world that peaceful coexistence and mutual respect are the keys to a brighter future. As regional leaders and organizations look ahead, their commitment to understanding, innovation, and peace will shape not just Sabah, but the destiny of the entire region. The story doesn't end here. Together, These nations continue to write their own path toward progress and harmony. While regional cooperation remains essential, the international community has also played a significant role in the Sabah narrative. Organizations like ASEAN and the United Nations have consistently advocated for peaceful dialogue and respect for international law as the guiding principles in resolving territorial disputes. ASEAN, as a collective of Southeast Asian nations, has encouraged its members to prioritize diplomacy and mutual understanding. Through various forums and summits, ASEAN leaders have reaffirmed their commitment to non-violent solutions, emphasizing the importance of unity and stability for long-term prosperity in the region. The United Nations, meanwhile, has monitored developments closely, urging all parties to adhere to international agreements and legal frameworks. UN representatives have praised the restraint shown by the countries involved, highlighting Sabah as an example where dialogue can prevail over confrontation. Despite differing viewpoints, the global response underscores a shared belief that peaceful negotiations and respect for sovereignty are vital. As Sabah's story continues to unfold, the watchful eyes of the world remind us that international cooperation and adherence to global norms remain as important as ever in shaping a peaceful future for the region. As discussions around Sabah's status continue on the global stage, it's important to consider the potential economic implications if territorial claims were ever officially recognized. Such a shift could have far-reaching effects on trade, tourism, and the daily lives of local communities. For Sabah, trade is a cornerstone of its economy. Any change in governance or international recognition could alter existing trade agreements, impacting exports like palm oil, timber, and seafood. Businesses might face new regulations, tariffs, or even disruptions in established supply chains, creating uncertainty for both local entrepreneurs and international investors. Tourism, another vital sector, could also see significant change. Sabah's unique blend of natural beauty and cultural heritage attracts visitors from across the globe. However, questions around sovereignty might deter tourists, affect travel advisories, and impact the livelihoods of those working in hospitality and related industries. On a community level, local residents could experience shifts in identity, governance, and access to public services. Changes in official status may bring about new policies, legal systems, and even currency adjustments, all of which could affect day-to-day life. Ultimately, while recognition of territorial claims might bring opportunities for new partnerships and investments, it also carries the risk of economic instability and uncertainty. As Sabah looks to the future, balancing the aspirations of its people with the realities of economic interdependence will remain a key challenge.